Well, here she is, all assembled and installed. I already used it. I didn't take any video of it, but we're going to do some modifications, so maybe I'll throw some video of it running then so you can see how deep these go. They did really well. The tines got deep. The unit did well. I don't have any complaints really. The only thing I had issues with was when you're backing up, this handle wants to move like this. See, it's really, let me use my foot, see. So when you're moving, it doesn't take much to move this handle up and down. So I've seen a couple of reviews on the Agri-Fab, which is just like this one, that people were having this thing pop down here or something like that, like real far down. And that's clearly from it like bouncing and then them pulling it forward, and it hits like a root, or in my case, the edge of the driveway or anything like that, and it pops down. So mine in the other case was when I would back up a little bit or turn, it would pop up and it would slam these down into the ground on my cement. And I didn't want to break this. It's not exactly the most sturdy unit. So what I did was I cut a small notch with an angle grinder in here just to try it out. You know, I'm going to clean up and paint it, make it a little nicer, but that helps it lock in here better. And the other thing I did was, if you push it down and lift this all the way up, get the wheels off the ground, just give this thing a shove. Just bend this over a little bit, because mine was bent out like this, so when it was, you know, it was real far out like this, so it would bounce. It was far away from here and it would just fall right out. So all I did was just shove this over, because it's really soft metal, and now it's snug against this side, so you actually have to pull it out to lock it in. And now, no matter what, because of that notch too, if it's bouncing, it doesn't come loose. So there's no more issues with that. You know, I seen a lot of people had problems with that, but I mean, all I did was just, you know, bend it over, and that fixed that problem. The stuff I was spreading was some Menards weed and feed. This is Menards house brand weed and feed. You can see that the granules, some of them are pretty big. The other stuff's pretty small. So the problem was, they actually have instructions for this drop spreader on the bag from Menards, which is kind of nice. It says to set it to 4. I had set mine a little higher. It's actually like 5.5 by the time it gets over here. It's like, you know, it stops at 5.5 on the stop. And that is all depends on, you know, how far you set this screw when you build it. You know, I think I had it a little bit, you know, pulled a little tight, so that's probably why it's off. I could probably adjust it so that it was it'd be perfect, which wouldn't be a bad idea, because then more of my numbers would be, you know, when I use product, it would be closer to the instructions. The other issue is back here. A lot of this stuff says to use wet, so the grass blades, when it's down, hit, you know, the water gets up on here and hits here, and this is where, that's where the product comes out at. So if this gets wet, the product sticks here. So I don't know if you just cut your grass lower maybe, or if, you know, you do it when it's a little bit drier. I know it says to do wet, maybe drier, because it's not really a airy light powder product. But if it's drier and then you water it afterwards, if that may help. The other big problem is with this, I'm pretty far away. There's no reaching back from my seat to get any of these levers. So when you make a pass, see my yard, I make a pass down here to the driveway, you got to stop. You have to lift this up so that the tines, you know, don't drive, because you don't want to drop product, and I don't want to drag my tines in the cement. But even if it's just the grass, you know, you can shut this off if you want to, but I found it's easier just to lift this up, because none of the product really falls out. You know, if a teeny tiny little bit for maybe a bump, but you lift this up, so I got to go to the, you know, drive down, got to lift it up, turn around, get off, lower it down, drive to the other end, get off, lift it up, turn around, lower it down, drive the other end. So here's what we're going to do, is I bought some stuff. I kind of already opened it last night because I was taking a peek at some stuff. We are going to take some of these pulleys. I save the packages so I can show you guys. A couple of these clips. If we need these, I got a couple of eye bolts just in case. Some S-hooks for mounting. we're going to take this, and we're going to make it so we can lift this from sitting on the tractor. We'll mock up something real quick and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, and here we have the proposed idea. So the reason I'm using a couple of pulleys is this thing can hold 100 pounds, and using just my right arm, you know, from behind where you're gonna have to pull, it just figured it'd be a little easier if I had a couple pulleys. Plus it puts it in a little bit better position. But just a quick pull, and she's up off the ground, which is the goal. And I don't need it to lock, you know, I can still lock it, you know, let me put this rope here. See, I can still pull this down and lock it, you know, but the whole idea is to be able to just sit it like this for transport. And then up front, I just have it tied off with a short piece of rope for now. So in the down position, I'll have it like a clip or something, so I can hang it on here, or like a little loop around something that it doesn't really pull. And then pulled up, I'll just put something here so I can, you know, so I can drive around and still steer something, you know, with it still locked. We'll see how it goes. I know it might move a little bit, so we'll have to see what I can do. You know, the perfect, I guess, way to do it was maybe if I moved one of the pulleys up near a pivot point so that when you turn it doesn't change. But you know, I don't want to put 25 pulleys on here or something like that. Or, you know, if I had a piece of rope with the tube, you can pull it, you know, and pull it through. This is just quick and dirty. You know, I can still hold it with one arm and turn around the zero turn with one hand. This would be you know, if you had a tractor, this would be perfect because you just use one hand to steer, you know. So just pulling this up and holding it with your arm, and then turning your tractor around, steering it, and then letting it down would be perfect. But let's I think I'm gonna go with this. I had tried it with the pulley set up the other way, but you have when you pull it off the top instead of the bottom, it's weird. And then I can always, you know, when I set it up the way I'm gonna mount everything, I can always take off one pulley, or, you know, we should be able to still swap around things with not too much headache. On these hooks I have are like 146 pounds, so if I were to drill a little hole and slide this hook through, you know, it can hold the, you know, the pulley. And I wanted to keep everything tight up, so I'll do what I can to like maybe drill this hole up higher, you know, in there, so everything's real close and snug. You know, the best thing to do would be if these pulleys were like a mounted pulley, you know, so they didn't, you know, move much. And then in the down position, I'll probably have to put like a little stopper right here maybe, because what I really need, or maybe I'll order, is a larger rope. This is what they had, you know, so for these pulleys, the downfall is it can jump off and wedge itself between the side here and bind up. But if I, you know, if I order a little bit slightly larger diameter rope, it would sit in there a lot better. So then if this falls down, so even now it falls down, it's still okay. See, you know, they still pull up okay. But I had one when I was testing this out, it actually kind of wedged in there a little bit. So I'll just put something, you know, like a stopper right here, so it can only pull back so far, and that'll help these things from being dangly. But we'll just try it out and see what happens. And here's the final product. I used a couple eye bolts in here, drilled in here. I'm gonna cut these shorter. That's in that size, that's the only length they came in. It was that or super short, but I didn't think that would go through the tube. So we got a couple eye bolts holding these, and then this snap clip holding this. I had tried an S clip on there, but it didn't give it enough movement. You know, like this one gives a little bit of movement, so it bound it up. It wasn't working right smoothly. Right now this is just tied right here, just so I can make it easier to take apart. You know, it's I think it's a clove hitch is what it's called. I don't remember, but it won't come undone. So then up here, I just got it clipped here for right now. I'll probably make something more permanent. That's the lever for the deck, but I'm not gonna mow and spread at the same time. And it's just fished right through here just for now. I can turn and everything, and there's no problems. But you don't turn when you're towing it like this, so when I do turn, I'll have it pulled up like this. So, but for right now, you know, I just finished it. I want to maybe get another eye bolt or something, or something else to lead this, so it stays right here to keep it from falling like this, you know, over, you know, if everything falls loose, you know, it'll fall down there maybe get close to the wheel, maybe not, but for right now, it's, you know, just to make sure and proof of concept, I towed it around and it worked really good. Again, it'd be really good for a tractor because you have, you know, one arm free, but with this zero turn, you know, you can steer it like this pretty decently. I'm not the best at it yet because I've only used the zero turn a couple times, but it works good. It picks it up, and with the 3 pulleys, it makes it super easy. It's really lightweight. I tried it with the bucket I have that has the fertilizer in it, and it was perfectly fine. It was not much harder than it was just now. I would like to get larger rope. I think I mentioned that before, just because, see, it sits on the side sometimes, but when, you know, you pull it up and down a few times, sometimes it goes free, see, but it just gets stuck over there. The larger rope diameter would help. These are just, you know, this is all they had at Lowe's, is this smaller rope, and then some weird larger rope that was like braided really large, that didn't have a smooth, so I didn't think it'd work as good. So far so good. I think it'll help anybody. If you have a tractor, it'll be even easier. It would be nice to have a tower welded here that this would go through, or maybe this second one would go through that, and then I could pull it, because then it would be at the pivot point, and there'd be, you know, when you turn, you wouldn't have to let off a little bit, because when you turn one direction, you gotta kind of let off a little. So I just pull it tight. You know, it stops right there, and that stops, so I just keep it pulled tight, you know, as I turn. So I gotta let it go, you know, loosen and pull a little tighter. But if it was in the middle, you wouldn't have that problem. I don't have any tube here to make anything like that, but I'll, you know, have some at the other house when we're moving here. I'll get that in there. The spreader works really well. I mean, having any problems. I figured the tines might bend when you turned, and they don't. Again, I said, you know, in my other video, the only issues that I had were when it gets wet, some of the material sticks to the back. I wasn't set perfectly right for the flow, so I'll have to try it at the correct flow rate. I didn't find out that 5.5 was the correct flow rate until I was really far along and it was barely gone. So as soon as the grass gets moist again, I'll try it on the correct flow rate and see if the wet grass has an issue. I only a little bit wish I would have bought the sprayer instead of this, just because, you know, it's easier to spray. You make sure that the leaves get wet with a sprayer, as opposed to this, you're dependent on the wet grass and having dry product stick to the leaves of the weed, which sucks. But otherwise, I mean, for what it is, it's pretty good. It's definitely worth the significantly decent amount cheaper it is than the Agri-Fab, and it seems like the same unit. So if you have an Agri-Fab and you know, you're tired of getting on and off your tractor to get back there, your zero turn to get back there, and, you know, pick this up so you can turn a corner, then this might help you out too. If you have any questions, you know, just stick them in the comments below.